Hey Saab people, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you a real example of how to use SaabWIS to follow a fault diagnostic procedure on a simple electrical issue. This is my girlfriend's little blue Saab with lots of problems that I'm starting a mini-series on. This should be quick, easy, and give you the basics, but remember, every problem and procedure is different. To hear what SaabWIS is and why it's useful, check the top left corner. Right now, the car has intermittent starting issues. It just kind of sits there and cranks sometimes. The other issue is that we're not building any significant boost. So let's plug in the Tech 2, pull codes, and get started. Perfect. Looks like we have a couple of simple codes. Today we will be solving P1682 and P0033. I love using the online version just because it's quick and easy, so we'll type in SaabWIS. Then we're on the home page right here. We can scroll down to 9.3 and click on 2007 because that's the vehicle that we're working on. Then we'll scroll down to the trouble codes area, DTCs, click on that. And then we can go into our search bar on our smartphone, or if you're on a computer, Control F, and that will allow us to search for what we're looking for. We are looking for P1682. It brought us right down to the code. We can go ahead and click on it. This page gives us everything we need. It gives us the wiring diagram, it tells us the fault symptoms, and it will give us the criteria that enables this code to come on. This fault typically causes no cranking or difficult cranking on this car, which we are having. But what we are really interested in is just plainly starting the fault diagnostic procedure, and that is right at the top of the screen here. So we'll click on that, and this will give us a step-by-step on figuring out what is causing this code to come on. And right now it's telling us to pull fuse 4 and check the system with a test light. I am going to run through this stuff rather quickly, so if you need to pause and read the screen, feel free. So let's open up the hood and get started. To get at fuse 4, remove the battery fresh air intake right here and remove your fluid neck just to make things a little easier. Go ahead and pop open the cover and we will look for the fuse that has the number 4 next to it. It is going to be this green 30 amp fuse right here, so we will pull that with some needle nose pliers, and as an extra step, inspect the fuse. Contacts are good and it looks to be in working condition. Now check the live side of the fuse while connected to a known ground, and as you can see, it is lighting up, so we can move forward and click yes. Next, it wants us to check the fuse, which we already did, so we hit yes again. So this part of the procedure wants us to remove a specific relay and check pin 86 on it. Now this relay is going to be the one all the way to the right. I know the diagram is backwards, but I am right. It is this one right here. We'll pull this and connect our test light to a known ground and check pin 86. And as you can see, pin 86 is right here. They're all labeled and our test light comes on. So that means that it's working and we can move on. So we'll hit yes right here. Reading this next step is a little confusing, so we'll take a look right here. It basically wants us to have the ignition on and use a test light as a jumper between 86 and 85. So we will connect our test light to 85 and poke 86 with it. And since that worked, we can move on to our next step. And this one, it wants us to reconnect our test light to a good ground on the battery and then check pin 30. It did not specify turning off the ignition, so we are going to leave it on for this. Now let's check pin 30. Beautiful. And since that worked great, we can go ahead and hit yes and move on to the next step. Now this is going to be tough. You are going to need to shut off the ignition, and it looks like we're going to have to unplug the ECM. We need to be really careful doing this because the plastic is brittle. This is an old car, and we also need to be careful testing this plug. We can't just shove our test light in there, otherwise we risk ruining the connector's connection and the car won't run anymore. It also says to connect test cable blah blah blah. We don't need that. All we have to do is make a test jumper using some spare wire. Right here is the exact piece of wire that we're going to use. It is a decent gauge wire. The ends are stripped and it's not very big, as you can see. It is going to link those two pins, and then we are going to take a test needle and shove it in pin 48 of the ECM, and we are going to check it with a test light to a known ground. We have pressed the main clip already. We're going to push on the bottom of the latch right here, pull on the bar, and it is going to push that tab up. Pull on the tab all the way and it will release itself. I did not pull on that connector at all. It did it on its own. Now that that's released, we have our test light connected to the ground of the battery, and we have our test wire going between 30 and 87, and we have a needle in pin 48. Now we will be able to use our test light from the negative terminal of the battery onto the test pin, and if it lights, we have good connection. Looks like this test is also successful. Since that was successful, we can click yes and move on. So it wants us to do the exact same test right here, except take the test pin out of 48 and move it into pin 64. So we're going to remove our test pin from 48 right here, and we are going to put it down into pin 64. Then we will go ahead and run the same test. And it lights up. Perfect. That means that this is working. So we can go back to WIS, hit yes, and then it will tell us exactly what the issue is because we have reached the end of the line. So the issue all along was that we needed a new relay. So we'll go ahead and plug back in the ECM, put our covers back on. Of course, take out your test needles and take out your probe wires, everything that you've put in the system, remove it, put it back to stock, and then we will throw in our new relay right here. I had one off of another car that is a known good, so we'll plug that in. As promised, let's also look into P0033. When I was messing around with the ECM for you guys, I noticed that this boost solenoid hose is not plugged in under the coolant pipe right here. This likely happened when I was replacing the ECM and the coolant pipe at the same time a couple of years ago. This is an example of one of those issues you cause and you rediscover when working on something else after a couple of years. So let's plug it back in and get it working again.
Alrighty, let's get this thing started up. Sweet, no engine light after clearing the codes, which, you know, is pretty typical, but let's go take it for a test beat. Is no longer stuck in low power mode. We are getting full boost and the car cranks and starts in a timely fashion just like it should. And to end off the day, we are going to get these winter wheels off and put on the original set of wheels with summer tires. These are the 17-inch anniversary rims that came on this car from the dealer, and they look so damn good. I hate working on 2.0s, but my girlfriend loves this car, so let's continue to fix it and upgrade it without saying anything and see how far we get. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next part. Peace.